This video is me, a casual, rating the difficulty and hardness level of each Black Ops Zombies game I've played. Hardness and difficulty. What is the difference, you might ask? Well, difficulty is what it sounds like. But hardness refers to how hard the gameplay makes me, how excited I get, how close to ejaculation, if you will. Basically how much I actually enjoy the game. Based on these graphs, detailing my experience, we can see that there is almost an inverse correlation between which games are difficult and which make me hard. However, it is not exactly a negative relationship, as there are a few exceptions that were either both difficult and made me hard, or easy and made me soft. Let me explain. I will go in chronological order, however Black Ops 1 can be split into 4 parts. One for each version on different platforms: Nintendo DS, Xbox 360, PC, and iOS. As you could probably guess, I have played Black Ops 1 the most, not only because of multiple versions, but simply because it was what I spent the most time on around my middle school years. Therefore, I do have a slight bias for this game. First, let's start with the DS version, since it is somewhat of an anomaly and unlike any other zombies games. This game not only makes me very flaccid, but it is super difficult, probably beyond any other game on this list. There are a few reasons. Zombies one-hit down you on every round, there are no perks or pack-a-punch, and it has the most unintuitive control scheme of any game I've ever played in my life. I absolutely hate getting one-shot in video games. To be fair, a lot of the weapons are quite powerful and kill zombies easily. But the controls make you slow as fuck. So it makes you a glass cannon with very little means of avoiding damage, which kind of defeats the purpose of being a glass cannon. Now I don't have a Nintendo DS anymore, so I had to play it on an emulator. The controls are even worse on there, because the better options of the two control schemes requires you to use the touchpad to aim. On the DS you use the stylus and swipe to look around, similar to aiming on a touchscreen like a phone or iPad. However, on PC you have to hold down left mouse to simulate the touch. So it actually physically strains your hand if you play this for more than a few minutes. On top of that, there is input delay that makes it feel like you are playing underwater. Plus the FPS being low, I'm not sure, but it feels like 45 or something, and this has to be the least responsive and slowest first-person shooter game ever. To be fair, the zombies do move quite slow as well, for the most part. Until you get to like round 4 and they introduce sprinting zombies. Even though they are like running at like 10% of a Black Ops 6 super sprinter speed, it's really scary to see these guys coming towards you. If you don't have a good gun that can kill within a few shots, it's GG's basically. Also, since the maps are so narrow, there is no room to maneuver around the zombies most of the time, and controls are clunky anyway. You have to basically pick a spot and hold it and make sure your gun is ready to kill everything in the round from there. Also, the prices for opening barriers is crazy. It's 5,000 for the first one and 10,000 for the second. I haven't even made it past the second door, hahaha. I can't seem to get past round 6 in this game. I think the highest I've gotten was round 8 on the DS version, back when I was like 12 years old. But I have no desire to even try to beat that now. It's just bullshit. But I will say there are a couple features I do enjoy. I like that throwing knives are kinda good. They are insta-kill if you hit the head. Also, I think it's amusing how the mystery box is just some cabinet with a question mark on it, and you don't have to wait for it to spin, you just drag and drop and automatically receive a random weapon. One funny thing is you can shoot power-ups to obtain their effects. But what's silly is sometimes they spawn outside the map, so you have to shoot the nuke to get it, for example. Unfortunately, BO1 on Nintendo DS did not get me aroused at all. Now let's talk about the iOS version.
Power in my hand!
In contrast to the DS, this is probably the easiest zombies game ever. Actually, something they both share is on-screen indicators that tell you where the zombies are coming from. The difference is that it's actually much easier to turn around or guess, based on the indicator, where the zombies are on the iOS version. so it becomes a useful and even OP feature, while on DS it just sends you into panic mode because you can't turn quick enough, and sometimes the indicator shows up even though the zombie is behind a wall, so it just freaks you out even though you are safe. Honestly, this feature isn't even necessary on iOS, because it's so easy to avoid damage and zombies in this game even without it. You can literally phase through them sometimes, so it's nearly impossible to get cornered. The only thing that may make you go down is that it still is a 2-hit down before getting jacked, but only if you select the hard difficulty mode. If you select easy mode, it takes more hits. In addition to all this, the fire trap strategy on Kino is even more broken than on console and PC. For some reason there isn't a furnace object there, and you can stand behind a fire with zero risk of taking damage. Plus the zombie spawn numbers are limited, even on higher rounds. So this gave me the easiest round 100 ever, and I think it only took me a few hours. This game also has Ascension and Call of the Dead, which are cool, but I didn't feel like playing them. To keep it consistent across all Black Ops 1 versions, I only played Kino, but admittedly it's also the only map I'm comfortable with. Since I had such a limited time playing it as a kid, it's really the only map I know well. To give you some backstory, my mother regulated my time spent on video games, allocating me a measly 2 hours a week for gaming. Yes, 2 hours per week, not day. So that's why I barely played on console, but I remember this game and the DS version very well, since I could play them without her knowing basically, since they are handheld and easy to play discreetly. But anyway, this version of the game gave me a half chub. Finally, BO1 on Xbox 360 and PC. My ratings for these actually differ quite a bit, because I feel the PC version is actually slightly more difficult for some reason. I think it might be related to the frame rate, because I notice I get double swipe way more often on PC. It's incredibly frustrating on low rounds. It feels like a coin flip, whether they double swipe or not. It's extra annoying, because melee kills are worth the most points in this game, so I want to knife, but then I may not be able to avoid the double swipe. Like, look at this clip where I knife every single zombie. The first 3 are all just normal hitting ones, but then this one randomly windmills. And in this moment I was already moving backward after knifing, but his windmill pulled my character model in for the second hit and it was an immediate down. I feel like it was just easier on Xbox. I got past round 50, which I'd never done before. And the frequency of windmill zombies was almost non-existent. It happened only once, but it was a glitch and I survived. Overall, BO1 on Xbox 360 also gave me a half chub. Nothing overly bad or good about it, not too hard, not too easy, just a solid classic experience. BO1 on PC also gave me a half chub, but less chubby. I have even more limited experience with BO2. I remember Transit though, as the atmosphere is intriguing. The gameplay is basically the same as BO1 though, but worse, because of all the extra map mechanics. I died on round 3, because I was looking at the fan and not the zombies. I didn't feel like playing it again, just to ride the bus forever and try to learn the whole map layout. I never played any other maps on this game, because I don't have the DLC. I just did a few attempts on the town instead. I thought starting on a different round number was cool, so I decided to start on round 20. In my best run I only lasted 5 rounds and then gave up again. Yeah, I'm bad at the game, but nothing about it makes me really want to play it. BO2 wasn't doing it for me. Couldn't get it up. Now for Black Ops 3. The game that a lot of people regard as the best zombies game ever. I can understand why. It is beautiful. The maps are complex and offer a ton of storytelling. However, this is also why I'm personally not into it that much. I really prefer a simple experience, and similar to Transit, I had no idea how to get basic things like power and pack-a-punch on any of the BO3 maps. Now you could say just look it up. But I'm lazy law. So I played maps I was familiar with instead. If it weren't for Zombies Chronicles, my rating for this game would be much lower. I think the best remakes are Kino and the Giant. They both are upgrades aesthetically, but the guns aren't as cool as BO1. I really like Widow's Wine, but other than that it still feels mostly the same. I played all the World at War maps on my iPhone, so I remember them well. I tried the Giant on BO3 and it was alright. I got some ammo mods, it was chill. The guns I had seemed strong, even on round 30 plus. Again, I prefer the original guns, but these were fun enough. My complaints are the same for both PS4 and PC. It just feels like you go down even more easily in this game than even BO1. From this footage, it looks like I had enough space to run past them, but instead they trapped me. Maybe it's because I'm just too used to BO6, but I also feel like that should be enough space to squeeze through. Also, zombies just hit you so fast that even with Jack, 5 hits feels like 2 or 3. It looks like you just get pulled into their hitbox when running past them, and I don't like that. Overall, I just feel that most of the content in this game is based on nostalgia. Over half the maps are from previous games, which is good if you like those maps. But I'd rather just play the original versions and not have to deal with the ultra-fast hitting zombies. I'm not including custom zombies content as a part of the review, since it is PC exclusive and it's not fair to compare fan-made stuff to what the devs put out. Custom zombies is easily a top-tier experience though, and much fun to me. BO3 made me quite hard initially, but the longer I went at it the less hard I became. Black Ops Cold War is actually what got me back into zombies again. I basically hadn't played any zombies game since BO2 up until Cold War's release. Like I never even played BO3 until recently. Anyway, Cold War is fantastic. I did 3 of the main quest Easter eggs solo and then again a couple times on Die Machine with randoms back when they launched. I got dark matter on most of my guns too. I love the shift in gameplay mechanics. I love how simple the maps were too. The gameplay was just so much more fun to me than any of the older games. The salvage and pack-a-punch tiers, even the armor I felt was balanced well and provided more replayability. The game is quite easy though, I will admit. I believe it is the second easiest zombies game, only behind BO6. But that's okay with me. Like I said, I'm a casual. I don't care for difficulty in a PvE game mode. But if a game is going to be challenging, it should be challenging through mastering mechanics, not because undead corpses can kill you by slapping you twice. I believe the old zombies games actually have artificial difficulty because of this. They aren't difficult because of complexity, they are difficult because they are unfair. Zombies' health just keeps increasing exponentially every round until every zombie is a nearly unkillable bullet sponge. High round zombies is a monotonous loop that I will never want to play. I've realized to play PvE games for the power fantasy, and that's exactly what Cold War provided. A bit of a tangent here, but this is why Doom Eternal is my favorite PvE shooter ever. The gameplay provides many different problems within an arena of enemies that have specific designs and certain roles when it comes to harassing the player. But the game also gives the player multiple ways to solve these combat puzzles through weapon and utility choices. I feel that in a way, Cold War used similar principles for its design. My favorite mini-boss type was the Megaton on Die Machine. It was a real threat because it did significant damage, but also because it split into 2 faster, aggressive twins. So you have to deplete its initial health bar, but also deal with the second phase while managing a horde. It isn't simply a bullet sponge, it actually makes you think about what you need to do in order to deal with it effectively, and there are many different options on when or how you take it out, much like the enemies in Doom Eternal. In terms of map atmosphere, I do actually agree with the majority that it was pretty weak. But I still love Die Machine and the Dark Ether, and it's one of my favorite maps ever, both based on visuals and gameplay-wise. Overall, Cold War gave me an 86.7% hard-on, and the difficulty was about 37.3%. And here we are. My favorite zombies game. BO6 is great. It improved on Cold War system and has better maps. The augment system is great for replayability. I've done every main quest EE solo and with randoms. I've got Nebula for some of my guns. I've got 47 indigestion gobblegums and indigestion in real life from playing this game for too long. The mutant injection is super OP. The jet gun is super OP. The light sword on Citadel is super OP. The ice staff is OP as well. Even the ray gun is pretty good up to round 50-ish. All these guns are so powerful. You'd think you'd get bored of them. But I haven't gotten bored. They are also fun to use, even after so many rounds of repeatedly using them. I've been in multiple games where I went to round 60, 70, 80 and I wasn't bored. On every other zombies game, if I could get to round 60, I would for sure be bored. I mean the round 50 on Kino was basically exactly that. Boredom from round 30 onward. It also took way longer to reach 50 on BO1 than reaching 50 on BO6. Actually I got to round 100 faster on BO6 than I did 50 on BO1. I don't care if it's the easiest game, it's the most fun. I have some minor critiques of the game in regards to some of the nerfs to certain augments or weapons. They aren't necessary. Also I don't like how the game is fully online, because my Wi-Fi sucks sometimes and it causes my solo zombies game to lag out. The mini-bosses are good and bad. I don't even hate the mangler spam, it was absolutely comical seeing a bunch of them march in a line and fire all their blasts in unison. It just seemed a little lazy on the devs' part. Aside from that, the mangler is actually a well-designed mini-boss, while abominations are annoying bullet sponges and so are amalgams. Doppelgasts are balanced well, and I like how there is a unique way of spawning more of them on Citadel. Overall, I feel that this new era of zombies is just taking arcade-like elements of the game and multiplying them to an absurd level. It feels almost like Dead Ops Arcade, except you don't have to rely purely on RNG due to customized loadouts, augments, and equipment. I understand why OG round-based fans may not like it. But to me this is basically what I wish Black Ops 1 was like when I played it as a child.